All right, so now that just means you have to pay more attention since we lost 2 minutes. In Bitcoin world, that's about 2 years, and I'm being honest too. All right, so again, I'm Connor Cranston. I'm the head coach for Infinitus Investment Research with my business partner and CEO, Cecil. He'll be talking in a few hours, but he isn't at this moment right now, of course. So again, I was able to help a lot of clients, and I started out just charging them pizza and beer in the beginning because I wanted to see if this formula really worked, because it's great that I could make 1,000% a month or 1,000% 6 months, but can I actually transfer these skills, right? So like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, they talk about it. Knowledge is just a transfer of skills, and that's all it is. So I took about, I think, 3 to 5 clients. I worked with them for about 2 months. Again, really no charge. Then as time went on, I realized, holy cow, this shit actually really works. I mean, these 21-year-olds are waking up with 1,000% in their bank account, and now they're telling me, hey, how do I store it so I don't have to give it away and stuff like that. They're trying to avoid taxes and stuff like that. So we'll talk more about that later on. All right. All right, so this is just a little joke. What's great, though, is in Japan, one of the first countries to start accepting Bitcoin almost everywhere, about 90% of the merchants. So we'll also explain about the real-world cases as well. Yeah, so as you can tell, this is what happened on CNBC, right? When Ripple was about $3, the guy used 3 Bitcoin at the time, which I think was like $45,000, $50,000, and bought that much Ripple. And then next day, it tanked to like $2. So a lot of people that bought it lost a lot of money. However, I'm going to show you how to recuperate those losses. Just because you're down doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because in trading, you have to have one of the mindset. It's called contrarian. So you have to do the opposite of what others do. All right. So this is a little bit about me, my story. Is it cool if I share a little bit? Yeah. Thank you, of course. All right. So this is my mom and my dad. He's half German, so I can claim that as well. So that's my Marine Corps picture. I had to get my hair cut because of regulations. And then I started trading stocks at around 2012. I didn't really like it. I did it in the Marines, so I just put some money in there. And then from time to time, I made about 20%, which is all right. But in the crypto world, you can make that in like an hour. In fact, Bitcoin last year, every single day has went up on an average of 6% a day last year. So even if you put $10 in there, you didn't have to watch it. So we'll discuss about the trading tools and strategies as well. And then, of course, I lost it all due to 3 bad businesses. I got scammed a lot. I lost about 50 Bitcoin total. So today's money, that's about, well, you can do the math. It used to be $20,000 per Bitcoin. So you could say I was a Bitcoin millionaire. But that's all right. It's about the education and learning. Donald Trump said he was $9 billion in debt. He was walking across the street and he saw a homeless guy. He's like, holy cow, I'm poorer than that dude. So at least I got that going for me. All right. And then how did I find out about cryptos? Well, when I was on Facebook doing my first business that I was failing at, this kid reached out to me. I thought he was 15 at the time because he didn't change his profile picture. And he ended up being like 18 but sounded like 45. He's like, yeah, I just have a really harsh voice disorder. And he told me, hey, I made 50,000 euros or US dollars at the time. I was like, holy cow, 18-year-old? So I paid attention to him a little bit, and then he taught me the tips and the trades. And then, of course, over the years, like I mentioned, I lost a lot of it. And then these are some of my mentors. That's Les Brown, that's Phil Town. He's in charge of the Rule 1 investing. He taught me a lot about the opposite mindset when it comes to being a trader. And he's just an investor. And you're going to realize some of the best investors in the world only trade once, right? In 2016, I believe he mentioned to me that he made he made one investment in one company, and that was it. It took him months and months of research. But most of us believe that we have to trade day in and day out. But you're going to realize that's called day trading. Day trading is very, very stressful. So I already went through that, so I'm going to give you some of the tips and tricks along the way why day trading is not the best in the long term, but it's all right in the beginning. And then why I went all into cryptos. So who here believes that freedom is above everything. Yep. So I can't recall for sure which country in Europe, it could be Sweden or Germany. It said that if a prisoner escapes prison, by law, if they escape and they don't get caught, if they do get caught, they can't return to prison because freedom is that valuable to them. And in America, you would get about 3,000 times more sentence. So don't do that in America. All right. And again, it's still so small. About 2.5% of the world actually knows about it, but about 0.8% or less than 1% has started to invest. And that's just Bitcoin. There's over 1,400 other cryptocurrencies in the world, and over 30 of them are being made per day. You're gonna find out about 95 of them are scams. So I'll teach you the ones that to look out for and stuff like that, because I did lose a lot of money investing in those. And then of course the fulfillment at the end of the day, if you do what I do have to admit, you have to do what you absolutely hate. That's why I joined the military and stuff like that, went to Afghanistan and all that crap, but it makes you more disciplined. It makes you resilient, kind of, right? And then why cryptos and why now? Well, again, only 2.5% of the world. So there's about, 300 of y'all in here? So that's like 0.0001% of the world. And right now there's about 200 known billionaire crypto investors, traders in the world, right? And then there's even more and more millionaires being made every single day. In fact, back in 1929, when the stock market crashed in America, right, it affected not just America, but America predominantly. More millionaires were made because of that stock market crash, right? And so now we have that same opportunity. So it's only a 2 to 3 year window. Remember Richard Tan talked about it could collapse in 100 years or whatnot, but the important thing is taking advantage of it, right? What is the now? Doing it as well. Just like remember PS3s back in 2005, right? You could buy them, people were sitting in the cold for like days, and you can sell them for like $4,000 on the internet. So think of it like this way. You're gonna double, triple, or even 10x your money. And anyone can start with as little as 10 euros, 200 euros, it really doesn't matter. You could be 12 years old, 60 years old, because regulations aren't as strict as, let's say, a bank account or the government, right? Because you don't have to go to the bank, you don't have to put in your social security, your cards if you don't want to. And then, of course, the growth is anywhere from 1 to 100 times. In fact, Litecoin doubled what Bitcoin did last year. So if you would have invested in Litecoin instead, you would have doubled your profit. So instead of 2,500%, you would have got back about 5,000%. Now, the best cryptocurrency to invest in back in 2016 was called NEO. It's the equivalent of the Chinese Ethereum. You would have got back 880x on your return in 1 year. That's what we call FU money, meaning you could do whatever you want with that kind of money. Right, and of course, it's disrupting everything in the world as we know it. Even military now, even space. I mean, if it can get into that sector, it's some serious stuff going on right now. And even AIs, robots, future, and some other cool stuff we can talk about later. And then now, this is probably one of the most important sheets you can see in any market right now. So there's one thing on here that it doesn't have. Does anybody know what it is? Numbers. There's no numbers on here. Why is that? It's all emotions. The market is just emotions. So you're just reading other people's emotions and your emotions. So what it's doing right now, it's creating multiple market cycles, right? Every market, not just stocks or cryptos, but seasons and other stuff. They have multiple markets right now, right? So right now, actually back in December, that's when a lot of people bought, right? And then what happened? They got really excited. There's been stories of people buying at $19,200. A guy spent $150,000. He lost it all, had to sell it back when it was $14,000. Lost his wife and his kids. His house, right? So that's what we call dumb money, meaning you just put your investment in there. You don't do any research. You go off what the news and the media says, which I never follow because it's all BS anyways. It's all propaganda, and it's not going to help you with advice when it comes down to it, right? And then what happens is when it comes to here, nobody wants to buy because they think it's going to crash again, and that's when you want to load up. So I'll be teaching you how to and where to buy as well. All right, so these are the 3 simple trading tools that you could use. There are literally over, I think, 800 tools you could use. So we're just going to stick to 3. And the great thing about cryptos, the less you have, the easier it's going to be because you're going to have less confusion as we go along the way. All right, so investing strategy number 1. They're called small cap coins, or also known as altcoins, alternative coins, right? So usually any coin about 20 million or less to about 1 million are considered small cap coins. Now, some of them are like 550,000 euros, but those are the ones that you want to stay away from because they have no record. They're usually pump and dump groups, right? People have a 3,000 or 300 email list and they tell their people, hey, to go buy this, and then you get in too late, or you get in at the all-time high, and then you lose as much as, there was one coin that went up 9,000% in one day. I mean, it gets that ridiculous, right? So again, any coin that's very, very small, there's about, again, 1,400 of them of these. So we're going to show you, like, looking up based off of the volume, the trend, and how to read them. Yep. And then the penny stocks, right? They're kind of like penny stocks. They're usually, sometimes they're as small as 0.0001 penny, because you're going to find out, like, let's say you put like $100 into them. You can buy like half a thousand of them or 500,000 of them, and then you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting until they go up, and then you just keep trading back and forth. All right, so CoinMarketCap. This is kind of like the Bible in your cryptocurrency adventure, because this is going to tell you, now there is a better website. It's coinpuffs.com. It's not puffs like in Amsterdam, but just like popcorn puffs. All right, so it's CoinMarketCap, but this one's all right. You could use it as you're starting out. So this lists all of the pretty much the top 100 coins, but it will tell you how many coins there are here. And then this is very important over here. So we'll take about a few minutes to look at these. 24 hours is the most important. That's really all you need to care about. Now, if you're a day trader, you can look at the 1 hour. If you're a swing trader, you can look at the 7 hour. A swing trader is you don't trade every day. You trade usually when price is very volatile or you ride the trend, right? That's where limit orders, stop orders come in. And then, of course, we talked about 24-hour. And then the circulating supply. This is very important too, because this is how much coins are in the market at this moment. So right now, there's only 16.8 million for Bitcoin. However, there's about 21 million total, right? So right now, there's only about 80% mined in the world, right? We talked about in the beginning about mining as well. It's another way to make your investments if you want the safe, passive way to do it. And then the current price right now, again, super important. And the market cap, how much it is, and the dominance. So like Bitcoin right now, it's about probably, I didn't check this morning, but probably about 36. It usually ranges from 36 to 55% dominance. And then you look at the symbol. Now the symbols do change for different exchanges. So like you saw XBT. So XBT is for futures, like shortening, like CBO, BitMEX Pro. That's when you can make like life-changing money, but also you can get wrecked really bad as well. I mean, people are trading for like Lamborghinis. Like, I'm not kidding you. All right, and then this is really good on CoinMarketCap. There's a section called Biggest Losers, right? So we heard of BitConnect, right? That was a great program. I lost a lot of money with that too. It's a lesson learned. So they almost went 100% in one day. So think of it. Their price was at $300 per coin, and it tanked down to $14. And yeah, you're going to hear more stories about that later on. But again, this is just very good to know what coins are not doing very well, because you're going to see a trend. Do these coins keep appearing on the losers list or the gainers list? And then the biggest gainers, right? Now, this is actually not that big. We've been on, overall, we're very bullish in cryptos, very, very bullish. But in the last month, we've been kind of bearish. So we've been on a downhill slope. So that's why we haven't seen these numbers. Usually they're in about 4 to 5 digits, or 4 digits, and high 3 digits. And again, these coins that come up with like weird names, right? Russia coin, Blake coin, Philosopher's Stones. I mean, I don't know if Harry Potter created that one before he died. Who knows? Right? And then this is very important too. When you click on the actual coin, it's going to pull up a bunch of information. So what's really important is the market. Where is it being traded right now, right? So you're going to see the volume, then the current price. You see how different prices are different on each exchange? Well, because some of them have premium. So for example, in Zimbabwe, right, when Bitcoin was 10,000, it was trading for 15,000. When Bitcoin was 18,000, the Koreans were paying 23,000 for it because they see the value in it, because they know in the long run it's going to go up eventually. And there was a prediction made that Bitcoin was going to be around 40,000. I'm going to say it's going to be 100,000 by the end of this year. 40,000 is the minimum, by the way. In fact, Bitcoin should already hit 100,000 if it wasn't for all the regulations and all the crap that got into it. So, and then you have to also look at the volume. Each of them is doing. So Bitfinex, that's a Hong Kong international exchange, 1.5 billion. OKX, that's a Chinese exchange, I believe. So again, you have to look at each exchange. So most of it is the Asian market pushing it. GDAX is international, but they're based off of San Francisco, so America. All right. So now this is a little bit of the trading of how I use my style to gain those, 1,000% or so, right? So December 10th, when I bought into Verge, right? Now, of course, you could have put any amount of money into it. Let's say you put 20 bucks. See how you don't have to start big, folks. See, it's not like you have to put in stocks where you have to put in like $40,000, right? So I only put in 28 bucks, but I kept rebuying it, right? Because of the fact that it was pretty cheap. So I bought it down here. So what happened was I just waited for it to go up, and then I sold it. And what happened was now I have all my profits. So I left 50% of it in there. So whatever happens to the other 50%, it doesn't matter if it goes to the dust, if the market crashes. I already made back, I believe from this one I made back on average about 1,000%, right? A little bit more, maybe 1,200%, right? So I don't care what happens. The rest of it is just long term for me. I'm not going to day trade or swing trade it. For me, I'm going to hold it for a year now. And then this is a great way to really study in the beginning. Is you have to look at breakout, support, and resistance lines. You're going to get to know these terms a lot, support and resistance. Okay, so support is kind of like the floor, right? It's supporting you, so it's holding. And then this is the resistance, so it's like the ceiling. So right now, as you can see, these candles, right? These are called candles. The little lines are called wicks. So as you can see, this is kind of where you can draw multiple supports, but you want to see where the major support is. So before it broke out, I put the support line here, right? As you can see, this little wick right here, it almost touched this line. So it was about 0.38 right here. It didn't touch it exactly, but then it went back up. Now, there's another indicator called the fib extension. It's not on here, but it's a little bit more advanced. It's going to show you each lines of it, right? And then the circle, that's the breakout. Breakout is very important. Usually, when it's doing something like this, it's called consolidating, right? Meaning that the price is going to be up and down very little bit. So like with Bitcoin, it could be consolidating at a couple of $1,000s. So don't be surprised in 2020 when it consolidates, $20,000 up and down, right? It's going to do that a lot. But then all of a sudden, right here, you see the bulls, which are the buyers, right? They got tired, and so somebody stepped in and bought a huge chunk of Stellar Lumens, and the price just kept going up. This is what we call a parabolic trend, right? So it just keeps going up until something interacts with it and stops it. And then usually you'll see about a 50 to 60% retracement, sometimes as much as 70, like with Ripple. All right, so this is strategy number 2. All right, so Warren Buffett, he's actually not a trader. He's an investor. So if you want to take investing strategies, I would go with him. That's all he does is invest. So again, he says, do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. Right, so this is strategy number 2. It's called free rolling coins or buying the dips, right? Because a lot of people believe that they need to sell the dips, and that's when they're going to recuperate their losses. So again, buy when others are selling and sell when others are buying. So this is where limit orders comes in, stop orders. So like if you're on vacation, you don't have Wi-Fi, you can do that as well. All right, so for example, whether you have let's say even say 1 Bitcoin or 1,000 of the cheaper coins, right? So you want to earn your coins. Because right now, a lot of people are buying coins. I really don't buy coins, I earn them. Because what's the point of keep buying them when you can earn them with the skills, right? Because I believe everything in life can be earned. That's why you can get free sweets if you ask correctly. All right, cool. All right, so with this was called Verge again, right? So I bought in, what was it? I think I bought it 30,000 Verge at the time, which was only like $30, which wasn't bad, right? So of course, this is called the all-time high, meaning that's where it reached. So that's where it creates that resistance. So of course, it's going to be a little bit hard to sell at this top every single time, but if you can get 80 to 90%, that's very, very good, right? In stocks and cryptos, if you can get 70% correct all the time, you're a genius. But in school, you're considered, a dummy, right? So see how that works? You make real money with a 70. It's like Robert Kiyosaki said, the C students are always going to be the ones you need to look out for because they're the smart ones. And then, of course, you buy back in at the bottom. Can you really buy back in at the bottom every single time? Most likely not. But again, if you can get within 80 to 90% range, even 70% range, just keep doing that over and over. Now, this is where swing trading comes in, and sometimes even the last couple of weeks, where the days were just so volatile. If you were to be in front of your computer, you could have made a lot of money. Unfortunately, my portfolio did go down a lot because I was traveling and I did get sick, but I'll show you and I'll tell you another strategy why that's all right. Is everybody learning so far? All right. All right, so the third strategy, right, you can tell he's holding Bitcoin right there. He's not going to give that up. It's called hodling or holding. So it's a long term. In cryptos, it's about a year, right? According to the laws and regulations, usually it's a year with tax purposes and stuff like that, right? So what happens is people get scared, they get uncertain, so they start to panic and they start to sell into the dips, like I was talking to you about. However, you need to have a game plan. So a game plan is before you even get in a trade, right? You already need to know when you're going to get out, what your percentage profit is. Now in cryptos, and even I don't know for stocks because I haven't really looked into it, but for cryptos, you don't really say I want to make $100 today. More, you want to say I want 1,000% gains in a month, or I want my portfolio to be 5,000% in a year, because you're going to realize you don't want to tell people how much cryptos you have, or you don't want to say, hey, I have 15 Bitcoin, because in 2 years, 15 Bitcoin, people have been robbed. One guy robbed his best friend gunpoint for 1.5 Ethereum. $1.5 million worth of Ethereum. So even your family and friends, it's hard to trust. It's that valuable nowadays. People see it. All right. So this was a coin called IOTA. So it's the Internet of Things. Now, I bought IOTA back in August, right, at about $1. Now, it doesn't show it on here, but IOTA went down to 30 cents. Actually, it was 23 cents. So I already lost 70% of my profits. But remember what I was saying? I already had a game plan. I had a target profit. And so what did I do? I waited and waited. See how long I waited? About 4 months, right? And look, it paid off. So what did I do? I sold a quarter of it. Then I bought back with the free money that I earned, by the way. Right? So I only pay 480 US dollars, so probably about 40 euros. So it's all profit again, right? So it's having that strong hand, having that firm conviction to stand by your trades. Because you're going to hear on the news, hey, they're going to say, start selling, Facebook, They're called trolls. They have a bad name. They tell you Bitcoin's going to be worthless. But usually those are the ones that are really mad that they didn't get in. All right, so some important terms for cryptos, because these are going to be, if you know about them, because you'll probably hear them on the news or from other traders, because as time goes on, you're going to be like, what is he talking about? So these are just the basic ones. So accumulation, remember that when it was consolidating, so during that point, that's when you want to buy in. So last year, I think it was, yeah, last year, Bitcoin was staggering a little bit, and that's when you kept for about 6 months. It just was the same, almost the same price, maybe $100, $200 difference. That's when you want to keep buying more and more and more, right? Now, this is with your paycheck, your job, or your extra income. This is where you want to put it in, because eventually it's going to go up. Airdrops, this is really cool. So if you have a coin, you get free coins. So for instance, if you have Ethereum, you would have got Ethereum Classic. If you would have got Bitcoin, you would have got Bitcoin Cash, or you can call it B-Trash. That's what I call it. And then BTFD, which is buy the fucking dip, meaning like buy the red, people, buy the red, which most people don't want to do, but you gotta. All right, a bag holder. Again, a bag holder is someone that sees all their earnings like probably the last week, right? It could have went down to 60%, and you would have just held on to it. Now, this could be a bad thing or a good thing. Remember, it just depends on your game plan. Bear trend, right? Bear trend is when the market is going downhill. And then bounce plays. So when the price just bounces, usually after a dump, and it's always going to do that. Usually it's about a 30 to 50%. And you can tell by the volume, and I'll show you on the next couple of slides. Bull trend, opposite of bear trend, just going up. Now, bear trend, remember, that's when you want to ladder in, keep buying. Bull trend, you want to ladder in and sell. All right, so these are some of the coins that you would have got free airdrops. So Neo, you would have got gas. Aldor, you would have got Nex with it, so that would have been free. Hard fork, it's kind of same as an airdrop. It's just like Bitcoin hard forking to whether it's Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin God, Bitcoin Gold. There's so many of them. You can't keep track of all of them. But they're essentially just kind of like free money or free cryptocurrency. You could trade it for more Bitcoin. Honey Badger, this is the term that we use for Bitcoin because it's so resilient. It's ignored all the government, ignored all the all the news events, and it doesn't affect it at all. JOMO, joy of missing out. So for instance, Ripple, a lot of people saw that it kept going up. You just miss out, And shitcoin, that's actually the correct term. The coins that have pretty much no real world use cases whatsoever. But they're great for trading. They can make you a millionaire essentially. You could tell your mom, hey, I became a millionaire off of shitcoins. So I'm pretty sure she'll be happy either way. So this is the honey badger in America. I believe that's where, I'm not very sure where they live at, but they're awesome animals. They eat whatever they want. They have very tough skin and claws, and most predators don't touch them. All right, this should be the last one. All right, Spoofy the bear. A lot of new traders or investors come in. They want something or somebody to blame, and it's just a mythical creature. The trend line is just where it's usually, you see it once you draw the trend lines. So you look at triangles, right? You can look at bull flags, bear flags. Whale, somebody that has a lot of power in cryptocurrency. Usually these guys are stacking about 5,000 Bitcoin or more. Or they control like $1 million in a certain volume of that crypto asset. And they can pretty much wreck the whole. Like if Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, right, he has supposedly 1 million Bitcoin. If he wanted to, he could bring the price back up if he wanted to, but I don't know where he's at right now. So this is Spoofy the whale bear right there. And I believe he might be in another dimension. So, all right, so quickly we're gonna go over the 4 analysis in the market. These are very, very important. Right? They're kind of pretty much the same as a stock, but with cryptos, you don't have to go super, super deep. Fundamentals, super, super basics. A lot of people will only trade on fundamentals. Technical, I trade on all of them, by the way, because it's good to have everything together. But technical is probably the one I use the most because it requires mostly charts and patterns. Market, what is the market doing? And then self. So I'm going to ask you a question at the end to see which one is the most important. Hopefully you pay attention. All right, so fundamental, it's really just looking at, let's say for ICOs. ICOs, it's all fundamentals, right? How many of you want to invest in ICOs? By show of hands. Whoa, holy cow. So believe it or not, ICOs were one of the best returns back in 2017. One of my mentors, I think he made about 4.7 million just investing in ICOs. He got anywhere from 50 to 200x on his returns. But all he does is fundamentals. He does not trade. He studies about the the ICO, where it's going, the long-term vision, what is it doing in the world, right? Because there's so many blockchains out there. 30 new ICOs are being made per day, so what makes this one different? So the news is something kind of like fundamentals as well. When they tell you, hey, this company is great, we just interviewed the CEO, so that would be considered fundamentals. Right. Technical analysis. So again, this is tools and charts looking at your candles, your lines, your bar graph. Now, this is where day trading and swing trading comes in as well, and even long-term investing and holding is, if you zoom out, let's say in the 1 month time frame, or the 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, you're going to see a projection of where the price is going or where you believe where to take profit within the upcoming year or so. Self-analysis. Right? So this is all about you. So controlling your disciplines, your attitude, your emotions, right? Because you're going to see a lot of people get really mad, right? For example, was it World of Warcraft, right? The guy just bangs on his keyboard all day long because his character went from like 60 to like level 1. Well, in the cryptos, if you do that, guess what? You're going to lose a lot of money. And so I relate this to warriors. Trading is like having a samurai discipline, right? These warriors could meditate for days. They could take cold showers. They could go without eating, right? They could go without sleeping, and they knew how to control themselves mentally because everything is up here, right? That's all trading is up here. And the last one is market sentiment or analysis, right? So doing the opposite of what the herd is doing, dumb money versus smart money, right? Did you do your research? Did you go in when everybody else did? So for example, when Bitcoin was like up 1,000%, then everybody wanted to get in, right? Parents didn't really take you seriously when Bitcoin was 1 cent. And then when it was 10,000, people got really serious. That was the breaking point right here when Bitcoin was about 10,000. That's when people really started, reaching out. You had maybe a great brother you never heard of that wanted to trade Bitcoin and maybe give you money, stuff like that to trade Bitcoin. All right, so we're going to do a little exercise, and I want to see if you guys will be good traders or investors in the upcoming month or not. So it's going to be about 10 seconds. I just need you to sit up straight. All right. All right, you're just going to close your eyes and not do anything for 10 seconds. That's it. All right, go ahead and open your eyes. All right, so did everybody pass the goldfish test? If you held in for 8 seconds or more, your attention span is greater than a goldfish. If not, you might need to work on your emotions and discipline. So at least you know. That's a good start. All right, so how do you get started today? I'm going to help you in the next couple of hours, I believe. I'm going to be helping you open up a wallet and getting some free Bitcoin. Is that cool? Yeah. All right. And then the tools and resources you can use as well. Real-world scenarios. All right, so this is just a quick brief because we're going to be talking more about this in a couple of minutes. There's a couple of slides you can open, Gemini, Coinbase, and then other exchanges. There's, I believe, over 50 actual exchanges, and for wallets, there's probably over about 15 in the world right now. Some of them are for both app and Mac, Windows, and PC, and they're developing it every single day, which is great. Oh. So this is a great tool I use, Blockfolio. You can download it for iPhone or Android. Not for the PC or Mac. It keeps a real live data feed of your current coins, and it tracks them in order. You could set alarms. You could see who's buying what, and you can calculate by your percentage as well. And then I think somebody was asking, how do we use this in the real world, right? So these are real world scenarios where you actually have debit cards you could use to buy whatever. So I have a Shift card from Coinbase, right? It's a debit card. I could buy whatever I want with it. I mean, anything. Well, the great thing is I don't have to call up a bank. I don't have to verify. I have instant control whenever I want. Right? No bank is going to let me do that whatsoever. And it's only $10. It's one time. You can withdraw from any ATM fees you want. And the cool thing is it's in Bitcoin, right? So for instance, if you put in 1 Bitcoin today and you just keep it in there and you don't use it for a year, well, that 10,000 could be 40,000. So it pays for itself in the long run. Yes? Can you speak up? Is that? Yeah, Visa. Oh yeah, well now what's cool is I actually just looked up yesterday. Singapore is creating a new cryptocurrency now that's integrated through their platform. So you don't have to go through Visa. You can go through other platforms. MasterCard is even thinking of, I believe they're already doing it as well. So we're going to see more real-world cases. Again, you can't stop Bitcoin. It's already died 200 times. Plus, the more you try to stop something, the stronger it becomes, just like a samurai. All right. So we're going to hold all questions because I only have about 5 minutes, and then I'll answer all your questions at the end of the presentation in the back. Cool. All right, staying up to date. This is a great way to get news. Cointelegraph, this is my favorite one. It's very friendly. It's easy. You can get it on iOS or Windows app. So this is real news, not Facebook or CNN. And I don't think you guys have CNN here, so thank God. All right, so and it's updated hourly, which is great. Another book is The Psychology. In fact, I would not do any trading, anything until you get the psychology down. It's studying your mindset, right? Mark Douglas is great. He wrote another book called The Disciplined Trader. So Trading in the Zone is about, I believe, a 6-hour book. It's free on YouTube, so you want to download the audiobook, go ahead and go on YouTube and download the audiobook. And he really just explains why the best traders in the world don't really focus on too many charts and patterns, but rather their mindset along the way. Because once you get that discipline, the rest comes very, very easy. And he has also a lot of great stories of how people lost like $50,000 or $2 million and were able to recuperate it all back just because of their mindset alone. So I remember in the Marine Corps, right, when I was in Afghanistan, any military branch, they talk about it's 99% mental and 1% physical, right? So how do you think the Navy SEALs can withstand negative 28, like 10-degree weather? They can go days without food. The first week is called Hell Week, right? You get about 4 hours of sleep, and you might eat once or twice a day. So that most human beings think we can't do that, but we can. Just for example, here in the Netherlands, Wim Hof, right? Who's heard of Wim Hof? Right? Doctors were like, that's impossible. And then he's like, yeah, whatever. Let me prove it to you. All right. All right, and then this is probably, if you're really big into trading or swing trading, this is the most recommended book of all time when it comes to technical analysis. It's a pretty big read, but it's beautifully drawn and sketched out. I would not recommend getting the Kindle version for this. Get the actual book so you can draw and write notes on it. And also, it could be used for any market. Right? It doesn't have to be used for stocks. In fact, I don't believe there's actually any cryptocurrency trading books. You're going to have to get one of these books and then apply it. That's why you see a lot of Forex guys and stock guys do very well with cryptos. All they do is apply the technical analysis over. Then they just have to learn the basic lingos about cryptos and what it is and blockchain. All right, so let's do a recap. So we talk about buying small caps, right? Coins that are usually about a penny or have about 1 million to 20 million in volume or circulating supply, and then buying the dips, right? Buying when it's low, when everybody wants to sell, and then holding, having that long-term plan, making sure you stick to your feet. The 4 type of analysis, right? Fundamental, technical, market, and self. And then being a disciplined trader. So the question I had was, which of the 4 analysis is the most important one? You just shout it out. Yep. You got it. And last one. Yeah, that's actually how I felt with my parents. I actually had to, I think it was when they were out eating dinner, working out, I had to sneak onto the computer, create a Coinbase account for them, and put 75 Bitcoin into them because I wanted them to succeed so bad, but they would not do it. My dad found out about Bitcoin when it was 0.01 cents. Then he found out about it again when it was $3,000, and he still won't invest. So, sometimes you got to stop talking to the wall and just take action. But that's the best thing is, if you don't invest now, the next 2 to 3 years, it's not going to be too late, but it's going to be very, very difficult when it becomes mainstream adoption and a lot more people get in. Plus, I believe the #1 market right now is, of course, Asia, and then eventually, most likely, America, then Europe, then we'll see South America, then Australia, then a little bit of Africa as well. Because pretty soon, Wi-Fi is going to be very, very relevant to the point where it's almost more important than food. All right, that's it.